We're back and feeling simply sensational this afternoon. Congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide. And prepare yourselves for another TCW house show. Because it's going to be simply sensational. And up first, clearly Hiroshi Haas will be going up against the Tiger Mask and what should be a very, very good matchup. Obviously have scouting still on the mind. After we saw Tiger Mask lose to Will Ospreay, we're going to see if we can bounce back, and I believe Hiroshi Haas also took an L just yesterday, or last night rather. So this is a great opportunity for both competitors to bounce back and get a victory which they so desperately need, or at the very least put on a great contest. Otherwise they might have their last scalp. And I thought Hiroshi Haas looked very good in defeat, and so did Tiger Mask too, if there is such a thing. Certainly should have great chemistry, put on a great performance, but neither competitor wants to lose again, certainly, which should be more than enough motivation for these guys to go all out and leave it all in the ring tonight. And I am very excited for the action that we have going. We're going to have some TCW main roster members on this show, as Inoki and the Great Muta will be wrestling on behalf of TCW, and a tombstone by Hiroshi Haas right off the bat. It's got to leave him reeling, and these styles are very unique, very fun to watch. I definitely enjoy seeing these two competitors, despite the fact that their past results haven't gone their way. I just think opening match, they should be able to start the show off well and get a good rating, if nothing else. So that's definitely what I'm looking for. I know that people may be familiar with the format. If not, here's the spiel. So far, me and two other bookers are doing a battle of the bookers. So we run 3 TVs per in-game month and 1 pay-per-view. What I'm doing currently, in between shows, while I'm waiting for other GMs to get caught up, is running house shows. One, just something to record, something to watch that's fun, something to let my creative juices fly, or flow, for lack of a better term. And another reason for these shows is to check out some of the people who aren't currently on the roster. So right now I have a 25-man roster that will be expanding to a 30-man roster fairly shortly, after next in-game month or after the next pay-per-view. So I'm looking for the 5 top guys who are, going to be able to win matches first off. and second off, be able to put on great performances to aid me in my pursuit to be the best and most sensational booker in the Battle of the Booker. So far, there has been quite a few names that have really made a stake, and that they are deserving of certainly coming on board. But I'm trying to really, put as much thought into these decisions as possible, kind of run various matches just so that no one gets in on a fluke. At least that's the goal. But again, these it's a little bit tough. I'm able to make it as close to the environment in which I run for the actual TV and what we do for the Battle of the Booker as possible. But at the same time, you can only tell so much. It's a long-term investment. That's why I'm putting in the scouting now, so hopefully it will pay off when the time comes. And Tiger trying to work the leg of Hiroshi Haas. Very exciting matchup, and you can kind of tell we're trying to, at least from what we've been testing so far, mostly Japanese, a lot of older 80s roster members, although Hiroshi is from the 90s. Tiger Mask certainly from the 80s. But for one, that is what the majority of the roster is, older 80s and 90s. So stylistically they would fit in, and also it's kind of an untapped market, so to speak, as far as what the other GMs are running, and it's conducive to the current style that TCW has cultivated. And what a kick there by Tiger Mask, but he looks absolutely exhausted. I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to capitalize against Hiroshi, and a stomp to the chest. Tiger Mask had an absolutely frenetic pace going up when he was going up against Will Ospreay just a few days ago, and there's a Uranagi, and that could be it, folks. But Tiger Mask gets up to his feet first. That has to be shocking for Hiroshi. Up next, do stay tuned, as Shinya Hashimoto will be going up against Karl Gotch. And that should be a very interesting matchup. Definitely a clash of styles. At least that is what I am expecting. The grappler against the striker, as the German goes against the Japanese. And what a Northern Lights suplex there. Hiroshi, he's looking very good so far. Tiger has gone to the top rope again and again with that diving headbutt. And those kicks are just on another level. It's been connecting, and there's a Uranagi in the middle of the ring. Surprised he didn't go for a pin. Would have been the the opportune time, I think, and Tiger Mask is feeling it. Perhaps going to go for another diving headbutt, and does. Should go for a pin, but he's going to go up again and connects. How Hiroshi is able to get up after those headbutts is beyond me. Our main event, a big main event tonight. 2 non-TCW roster members will be closing the show, as Giant Baba will go up against Harley Race. I think that will be a very hard-fought contest, as both superstars had 100 match ratings in their defeats just last night, and they will definitely be looking to change their fate tonight. And this match has been fantastic so far. I would be very surprised to see anything lower than an 80 for certain, but this could be up into the high 90s or 100. And Tiger might have it won, and does. In 18 minutes 41 seconds, Tiger Mask defeats Hiroshi Haas with a double arm DDT and pulls out perhaps the upset victory, as Hiroshi Haas looked to be in the driver's seat of the match up until the very, very end. And an 85 is the match rating, a good enough rating to get these guys second looks following that contest. And again, up next, Hashimoto and Gotch are gonna battle in the squared circle. It should be a very interesting matchup, to say the least. Haas is definitely, he's looked good in defeat, but there comes a time where, you know, you're kind of limited, you know, for lack of a better term, if you're losing frequently. So it means you're just barely out of reach of, you know, even better competitors. Who knows? Some people are a good matchup for anyone and everyone, despite that. So I could be talking out of turn here. Nonetheless, the sensation sweeping the nation the sensation sweeping the nation moves forward, and Hashimoto is going to take on Karl Gotch, two competitors who look strong after last night's matches. Gotch defeating Sammartino after injuring the arm and forcing him to submit. Hashimoto defeated Nick Bockwinkel. And now, after this match, Hashimoto can stay undefeated and Karl Gotch can increase his record to 2-1, be on the winning side. Karl Gotch's only loss came to Lou Thez, who will be wrestling later tonight. So stay tuned for that matchup. And Hashimoto, the NJPW alum, certainly going to be looking for a marquee win over the legend Karl Gotch. And you can tell immediately Gotch outsized by the much larger Hashimoto, who has been called the Fat Elvis when he had his excursion in America. And right off the bat, Gotch trying to take this matchup to the ground and work the knee of Hashimoto. You can tell if he did a scouting report, and it looks as though he did, He knows taking the legs out of Hashimoto's offense will be important early on. Now he's trying to work an armbar here, and if he can stay on this current pace, then Gotch will be in the driver's seat of this match. And off the bat, a delayed brain buster by Hashimoto. Maybe thinking that would tie it up in a knee bar by Gotch. Frenetic pace right off the bat, not what I expected. I thought there would be a feeling out process, but Gotch had to get after him immediately, and he has been doing just that. Now a forearm, and he's had Hashimoto tied up for the majority of this match, not allowing him to utilize his size advantage while going for the submission victory. He made Sammartino tap, which is definitely an accomplishment. But can he make Hashimoto tap? He finally gets some offense there with a DDT. Clubbing forearm to the back of the neck. Shinya's gonna have to just start brutalizing and get very, very aggressive quick with Gotch, or he could be submitting sooner rather than later. Anything to turn this match around. And see, he has the power. He can change the momentum of this match on a dime, but Gotch has him scouted well, and a bow and arrow hold now as he drives the knees into the lower back of Hashimoto. Now an arm breaker. And I think Hashimoto's slightly shell-shocked here. You have to hope he didn't underestimate Karl Gotch, one of the legends of the mat. Man, goodness gracious, he has one arm hooked and another arm across the face of Hashimoto. Just something to wear him down. It seems to be working, as Hashimoto is already taking deep breaths. He's trying to throw a weight vest on him and throw him in to the deep end of the pole. See if he sinks or swims. And now wrenching the ankle of Hashimoto can definitely take the power offense away if you lose your vertical base. This has been a sensational match so far, with Karl Gotch showing dominance that we saw flashes of in the Sammartino match. It ended so early that you thought it could potentially just be a freak accident, but now against Hashimoto, it seems clear that he is truly on a different level. But let's see if Hashimoto can work his way back in this match. All it takes is for him to start connecting with these heavy, heavy strikes. He'll be back in it, but again, Gotch is like a spider that continues to catch Hashimoto in his traps. And a running power slam there. And now a claw pinfall that Gotch is able to break out of after a 2. And look at the power by Gotch, able to lift the much larger Hashimoto and drop him over his knee. And a German by the German, and that is, oh my, a close call and a DDT. And you have to respect the guts of Hashimoto to be able to stick with it so far, but again, he has to get some momentum going. Scotch has had control early and often in this matchup. And a running power slam again. Now that Haas Tiger match was so good. Truly would like to see Hiroshi go up against either competitor who was able to pull off the win here. Karl Gotch has probably got moving up the card on his mind to get a better look against some better competition. As I said, he did lose a match merely a week ago to Lou Thez, but I think we all know Lou Thez is a great competitor, and he won against Bruno Sammartino last night, and Hashimoto defeated Nick Bockwinkel, both premier top-tier victories, and this match is turning into a great match very, very quickly. Hashimoto is trying to climb out of the depths of hell, but Gotch trying to drag him back down with an arm bar. Hashimoto barely able to get out, but it looked like he could not take very much more, and if he wasn't able to get out, I think he would have been submitting. And another running DDT. Hashimoto has been able to find success with the DDTs in this matchup. And an octopus hold, a cobra twist by Karl Gotch. What an impressive display by both competitors. You've seen the toughness and resilience of Hashimoto, and you've seen the drive, determination, and killer instinct by Gotch, but he has not been able to put it away, and Hashimoto has yet to quit, and there's a delayed brainbuster, and he's going for the pin. This could be it, and it is. Hashimoto pulls off the upset as Karl Gotch was in the driver's seat for at least the first 10 minutes of that matchup, but Hashimoto worked himself back into it, and wow, a 100 match, the first one-on-one non-TCW 100, and definitely fitting, to say the least. And up next, we are going to have the King, Jerry Lawler, taking on Terry Funk. And this should be a very exciting match. Two very old school styles should mesh well together. We've seen both these competitors fight on the house show level before, but have yet to see them face each other. Now, Lawler did win just last week up against Nikita Koloff in a very, very interesting matchup. And there he is. Sometimes it's hard to find these guys on the roster. You know they're there somewhere, but you overlook them. So, obviously, Lawler looked good in a victory over Nikita Koloff, who I, thought there would be potential for him to, look very dominant. And yet Jerry Lawler, surprisingly, for me at least, pulled out the victory, and now he's going to get another look, which is what they are looking for, as the talent to potentially make it to the TCW roster and get weekly coverage and a shot at the gold. Whether they make it onto the TCW roster or the other two rosters, as there will be 10 people also taken not on the TCW roster. So I mean, it's a potential for them to get showcased and taken one way or another. Man, there we go. And I'm going blind. And Funker's gonna have the hair tied up for this one, which means he means business. And again, I feel like the styles here, Memphis versus Texas, should be quite interesting. Not sure who I have favored, although I think both competitors have one win on the house show circuit. So you could make an argument for either or. And they both are classic wrestling, old school performers. We're certainly going to leave it all on the line. We're going to see a lot of mat wrestling, potentially a few pile drivers, and a lot of right hands. I can tell you that right off the bat. Now I'm excited to see who can pull it off. Certainly going to be a hard match to follow after Hashimoto defeated Karl Gotch in a tremendous match. Nice snapmare there by Terry Funk as he gets sent to the corner. Back body drop, and now he's laying the right hands down, trying to pound Lawler into the mat. It's just going to be one of those matches. I mean, these guys are going to have to pound each other into smithereens before they would lay down for a 3 count or even consider quitting. There is very little quit in them, regardless of whether they're the good guy, the bad guy, or in between. These people, these wrestlers, have a undeniable will about them, and is what has made them so great in the past. But despite their big legends, their big names, can they make the TCW roster? A roster stacked to the absolute max with only 5 slots available to fill and a limitless selection of people to use. Who knows, guys? Now the Alliance Tag Title Tournament should be happening fairly soon. That should be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I definitely have at least 2 tags in mind and a floating third as to who TCW will elect to represent and go and get the gold. But as I was saying on the last house show, if you do have a team in mind, then go ahead and let me know, as Lawler is going for a figure 4 there. Nice back body drop by Terry Funk. And this match certainly starting out slower than last match, but you know that it'll pick up to a fever pitch at the end, as this is certainly a very even matchup. Similar styles and similar grit, which is always a explosive combination. Two guys who have a never say die attitude, and you are going to have some fireworks for sure. And he's going for a pile driver, the move that Jerry Lawler has used to win matches throughout his illustrious career. It's used against him, and certainly not for the first time, and it won't be the last. And I think that is a fist drop. It looks kind of like a body slam, but I think he's dropping a fist there. I could be wrong. Either way, the weight is coming down on Terry Funk, and he is giving him that Texas jab combination. He's going to the top rope for a moonsault and nearly took home the victory with it. A move we've seen Funk pull out, but on special occasions. And now a pile driver by Lawler. He's going to have to drag him away from the ropes, though, which could give Funk the opportunity to kick out. And only a 2 count. And now he's trying to he's trying to convince the ref that he used the chair against him, and I'm not sure if he's fallen for it. It was worth a try. Nice clothesline there. You have to wonder where he gets the chair from, but nonetheless, he's going for a suplex, and out of the ring goes Jerry Lawler. He's on the outside, which will give Funk the opportunity to catch his breath, and now Lawler means business. He swung at the head of Funk, but barely missed. You can tell Lawler is flustered. Funk has got a slight advantage and has been able to hit his best moves while kicking out of Lawler's best moves. But now the spinning toe hold, the drop spinning toe hold. But ring positioning was Funk's worst ally there. But he gets it now, and he's away from the ropes. He's trying to crawl to the ropes, but damage has been inflicted. And again, Lawler is trying to get an advantage any way he can. I think he feels threatened. He's backed into a corner, and he has to make a change some way he can. A change of strategy, perhaps. A nice belly-to-belly suplex, a move we've seen by TCW roster member Magnum TA used to great success. And headbutts now by Funk. I think he sees an end in sight, and another moonsault onto Lawler as he was stunned. And now another drop spinning toe hold, and Lawler has got to be feeling it. It's the third time he's had that submission applied. He's going to go to the top rope, and an elbow right to the midsection, and again drops a fist. He's starting to work the midsection of Funk and find some great success. He's going to go to the top again and another elbow drop. Nice suplex by Funk, and this has been a tremendous match so far. And what a moonsault by Funk. That should be it, and is. My goodness, what a card we've had so far. Each and every competitor is trying to put themselves in the conversation as far as getting picked up, and my goodness, certainly some arguments now that can be made for a lot of competitors. Definitely making the scouting job harder, which is, one reason I'm happy that the supplemental draft won't be happening for another month in game. Because right now, it'd be a very hard decision to make for sure. But now, gonna have another Japanese legend, Ricky Dozan, who will be going up against Lou Thez. Both competitors have shown just how good they can be. But how good will they be up against each other? That is the question. A win here would be huge for either competitor. Again, another matchup that I, wouldn't know how to call or pick, rather. Dozan might be looking to strike with Thez due to Thez's tremendous amateur wrestling background. But I guess we'll see. Perhaps he wants to beat Thez at his own game, or vice versa. Thez wants to strike with Dozan. I'm not quite sure. But moving forward, we're going to have Inoki, a TCW roster member, going up against Jushin Thunder Liger, which is a tremendous opportunity for Liger, who has, he's been to the mountaintop, but yet to win gold in TCW. And this would be an opportunity for him to make a great impression on the scouts and potentially make an argument for being drafted. The same can be said for these two competitors as well. And Thez immediately trying to stretch Ricky Dozan, and Dozan wants nothing to do with it. And I've got to say, Thez reminds me of Inoki. He's definitely a lot more ground-based, but just seeing him pull out the abdominal stretch right off the bat, eerily reminiscent of Inoki. And it's understated, this type of style, this ground and pound, and just stretch and put your opponent in agonies, is not a style that you see very old school. And look, Ricky Dozan, this is a shoot fight, ladies and gentlemen. These two have scouted each other very, very well, and it looks like a dog fight. This might be one of the most hard-fought competitions, definitely setting the tone early on. And not that there's any bad blood, but you can tell the fierce competition between these two. Neither man wants to have to admit that they were bested by any man. And you could call it fighting spirit, you could call it competitiveness, drive, ambition. Nonetheless, there is buckets full in the ring right now, and a nice key lock there by Luthez. A Kimura, in other words. And look, Ricky Dozan trying to end Luthez's night early with a pile driver, but Thez is able to shake it off, and now they are chopping the ever-loving crap out of each other. Looks like they were chopping tomatoes there, just back and forth with no regard for their own well-being or their opponents. And Dozan is so strong with his strikes. He's able to knock down Luthez with a chop there. And he snakes into an abdominal stretch again. It's just part of Luthez's offense. So ingrained. He has to wear you down and then hope that his stamina will give him the big advantage in the later stages of the matchup. But Ricky Dozan, much like a heavyweight boxer likened to Mike Tyson, wants to try to end things early, outstrike you, hit you with the big knockout blow, and walk out the victor. Very likened to the Hashimoto Karl Gotch match we saw earlier. Very exciting. We saw how that one turned out, and man, it would be a trend at this point if they were able to pull out another 5-star match. And I won't be surprised if they are able to follow suit. 3 of a kind, if that were to be the case. And now Dozan is following Gotch outside. He is trying to work the arm on the outside. Can't get a submission on the outside, but you can certainly break a shoulder or an elbow on the outside. And these two competitors have to be concerned with count out, and they get back in at the count of 15. And you can tell there is absolute thunder in these strikes by Ricky Dozan. Thunderous strikes, to say the least. He is knocking down a very tough SOB in Luthez with open hand chops. Now he's using the meat of the hand, which some strikers, the name is evading me right now. Boss Rutan is the name of the guy I'm thinking of, prefers open hand strikes. So perhaps Ricky Dozan is using that to full advantage. It allows you to strike a further distance on straight punches and jabs with the open hand, but is less likely to let you break your hand by using the meat of your hand as opposed to a closed fist. So there's certainly strategy, there is a method to the madness, and when you are as strong as Ricky Dozan, you can apply a whole heck of a lot of damage with those open hand palm strikes. And this one's starting to pick up. And what a power bomb there by Thez. The angle that Ricky Dozan is coming down on that power bomb is very unforgiving. You are getting crumpled up like a lawn chair on your head and neck. The way that Thez releases you is a scary thought to process, and he does it again. Look at the fight in these two competitors. I mean, they are literally being dropped on their head and not giving up. And now a helicopter hold trying to disorient Ricky Dozan. And now a drop from the fireman carry position. And a drop kick by Lou Thez. Both competitors trying to dip into their opponent's game, so to speak, and use it to their advantage. Shows something that wasn't on the scouting report as he uses a spinning neck breaker. And the longer Ricky Dozan is on the mat, the better it works to Thez's advantage as he applies another key lock. And these guys are absolutely spent. They have been in a fight for 15 minutes, and Thez again working the shoulder and elbow of Ricky Dozan. He was in the center of the ring and in trouble, but able to break out. Great strategy there by Thez, and now Ricky Dozan in trouble. Able to just break out again, but his will has to be wearing thin, or at least any mortal man's would be. And then there's the open palm strike. And this is a technical masterclass for any aspiring wrestler. This is as good as it gets. And now Thez working a headlock there from the side mount. Side control. Now Thez starting to use palm strikes as well. But Ricky Dozan, the master of the palm strike, and he's going for a pin. Apparently it's enough, and it is. The karate chop to the cranium was enough to give Ricky Dozan the victory in surprising fashion, as Lou Thez seemed to be in control of that matchup, but he pulled something out of thin air there, and a 99 performance by Ricky Dozan, and that was a tremendous match. Up next, we are going to have Inoki, a TCW roster member, going up against Jushin Thunder Liger. Again, a tremendous opportunity for Jushin, who did have a loss on the house show matches just a few nights ago, who lost to Will Ospreay. He's going to look to bounce back from that and have a good showing up against the legend. And Antonio Inoki, and Thunder Liger is certainly a legend in his own right. This should be a very interesting matchup, and we have 3 more matches on the docket so far. Again, this house show style or platform, or formula rather, allows for the use of both TCW roster members and free agents, so to speak. The TCW TVs and pay-per-views, which are in the archive of my profile, give some insight into the storylines that have been going on episodic television. Inoki is a former TCW Duos champion and lost those belts to Sting and Warrior. And on week 9, we'll have an opportunity to take those titles away from the Blade Runners, Sting and Warrior, in the main event of TCW TV week 9. So be on the lookout for that. We will be coming out with videos just as soon as the other GMs in the Battle of the Booker are completed with this in-game month. But to the action in the ring, Inoki certainly wants to get off on the right foot after losing to the Warrior in a 15-minute time limit main event on the house show. Or on the house show market. And Liger and Inoki, certainly two legends of Japanese wrestling. Different style. I think Liger is very adaptable. Will be able to combat Inoki's style, and Inoki very much knows what works for him. If it's not the submissions, then the strikes should do you in, and if that's not the case, then you have bested one of the very best in all of pro wrestling. And a win here for Liger would go a great way towards getting him a great argument to be drafted by TCW in the supplementary draft moving forward. So again, something to look forward to. The Alliance title tournament will be happening soon, in which one of the 25 members of the current TCW roster, or not one, rather 6 in tag team format, will be representing TCW among other GM's picks in the tag title tournament. 2 tag teams that I currently have in mind to represent TCW. Hanson Brody being the first, and then the Blade Runners, the current duos champions, being another. I certainly think Inoki would make another great tag member, at least. Perhaps Lesnar, Taker. There's certainly a lot of great options to represent TCW, and you know this could be a fantastic warm-up for Inoki, because Liger is such a great competitor to come across. But a loss here could definitely shake the confidence of Inoki moving forward. A slap to the back of the head sends Inoki careening towards the mat. He's going for the armbar, usually a move that we would see Inoki apply. Perhaps Liger wants to beat him at his own game, and here is the octopus hold, also called the Cobra Twist by some. He's unable to connect with perhaps a German suplex, and a running crossbody by Liger. Doing his best Ricky Steamboat impression, and then Inoki with the armbar, just as I stated. That is definitely one of the staples. And a victory roll by Liger, but only a 2 count. You know, a quick roll-up might be Liger's best chance at coming out of here with a victory, and you know, performance aside, his best bet might be to just steal the victory over Inoki and and use that on his resume moving forward to get drafted. But you know, the longer Inoki wears you down, especially with this guillotine choke, and the less likely you are to pick up the victory. Nice backslide there by Inoki, and nearly picked up the victory there. And he is dead center in the ring with nowhere to go, but able to hip toss out. And sends Inoki careening towards the mat there. He's going to need to land more high-impact offense and stay out of this Cobra twist, or he could very well be submitting very, very soon. And regardless of whether you're submitting, this definitely takes its toll. It wrecks your midsection, your shoulder, and makes it even hard to breathe. So the longer this match goes, it's going to be tougher on you. You can tell he's sucking wind. And now he's striking with Inoki. Not a great move, but able to win that exchange. Fantastic brainbuster there. And an enziguri kick, and he's going to go for a pin, and that very well could be it. But Liger has the ability to kick out at the very last moment and then give himself breathing room, and he miscalculated something there. I think he wanted to go up to the top rope. Those slight errors can really mess up your game. And just a millisecond, he missed with that frog splash. And another enziguri, and those mistakes. Wow. Liger actually got up before Inoki. Apparently he thinks he has it won, and does. A great performance by Inoki there, and you know he wanted to protect the brand of TCW by defeating a free agent. But I think it was a great presentation by Liger, and definitely gives him an argument to get another look. And we've seen some great performances so far. No complaints at all on my end. I mean, if this was TCW TV, I would be ecstatic about it. But we have one more TCW member who is going to try and protect the good name that is TCW against another man who is trying to make his way onto the main roster. And we are going to see Chono going up against Muta. This is definitely a matchup we would have seen in the late 90s in New Japan. We are going to get another opportunity to see it here on the TCW house show, and Masa Chono has definitely shown flashes of greatness and reason to be considered in the draft. He's very, very good, without a doubt. But you gotta win to get in, so to speak. While that might not always be the case, it would certainly help his cause so far. He picked up a win just last night against Rick Rude and wants to keep that winning streak alive. And Masa Chono walks down the aisle to face the great Muta, and he certainly knows what is going to be in store with the Pearl of the Orient. This should be a very, very interesting matchup. A great opportunity again for Chono to make an argument to make it onto the main roster. Again, there are TCW TV's episodic television and storylines that fit within the Battle of the Bookers. Slightly different to the style of the house shows, so to speak. This is more free-flowing. I like to give some of the backstory on what goes on, the decisions, and what to expect moving forward. And I've got to say, Week 9 looks very good moving forward. Again, the main event will be Inoki, who we just saw pull off a great victory over Jushin Thunder Liger with his tag team partner, Naito, going up against the Blade Runners, Sting and the Ultimate Warrior in a tag team title main event. Muta and Chono, I believe, were in NJPW's version, or rather, I guess their version of the NWO in the late 90s that went by the same moniker. And Muta would even come into America on behalf of the NWO. But now, there are no alliances, as Masa Chono will have to run through Muta, make a great example, and perhaps secure the victory to have a chance to make it on the roster. And Muta does not want to be the one to either submit or eat the pinfall and let someone who wasn't drafted defeat him. So certainly a lot on the line here, a storyline that we've seen again and again on these house shows, but certainly says a lot about Chono to get the opportunity against the main roster talent. It's probably the best method of scouting. You know, if you can perform with the main roster stars, well then that's what you would be doing consistently if drafted. Nice shoulder tackle there by Muta, and Muta is certainly one of the dark horses of the TCW roster. Definitely an X factor. He's unpredictable. He has a very, very scary style. He uses weapons, busts open the majority of his opponents, and there's the mist that leaves you vulnerable, and he connected with a kick afterwards. But Chono still on his feet. You can see the after effects as Chono, as covered in that mist, and you have to wonder what effect that has in his vision. And that is a very unique hold there. I believe he's trying to stretch the shoulders and put stress on the neck. And look at that pile driver. A variation of the pile driver. Chono is definitely a tough competitor for Muta so far. And Muta is trying to take the upper hand any which way he can. And those spinning back kicks are just so deadly. You really can't see where they're coming until they're connecting. And that's what makes them so dangerous. But Masa with an absolutely devastating power bomb. Now look at this, a cross leg STF. That is excruciating on the knees and ankles. Even more so than the neck. And wow, Muta is looking to end this one quickly, and does, with the moonsault, the patented moonsault of the great Muta, and he does not disappoint. There's definitely big plans in store for him on the main roster. He is yet to have that big title opportunity, but mark my words. If he keeps competing like this, he certainly will have chances in the future. And this card has definitely panned out to be one of the best we have seen, house show or TV alike. And we are on to the main event, as Giant Baba is set to take on Harley Race. It's going to be a fantastic matchup, that's for sure. Both have looked very, very good in their house show matchups. And I think this is one that I would be willing to say, I think Baba is going to surprise a lot of us here and take home the victory, but I've been wrong before. This is definitely a big opportunity for both of these guys. A victory here would be huge. We saw both of these competitors just last night. Baba against the Warrior, a former TCW Ultimate Champion, and Harley against Flair in a cage last night. Those are in the archives if you would like to check them out. Definitely great matchups. But here in the main event, they will compete against one another. This is a huge opportunity for them. Main eventing the house shows means they would be one step closer to getting a contract offer and making it onto the TCW main roster, which is what this is all about. And they can be used at any time on the house shows, but can't be used on TC and PPV unless they're on the roster, and gotta impress to run with the best. I expect these competitors to take their times getting acquainted with one another. Baba going for an STF very, very quickly. And I gotta say, the main event of last night's house show, so sweet to end November with a tribute to the match that would main event Starrcade, an event that would change the landscape of wrestling just a little over 35 years ago. And it would end in, I believe, the exact same fashion that it would 35 years later, and very apropos, very cool to see. But their tremendous performances allotted them the opportunity to main event this house show. And the higher up the card, you know, you have to wonder what that means. Perhaps the scout likes what he sees. And you can tell Muta, or Baba rather, just trying to get early control in this matchup. Wear down Harley Race, who is about as tough can get, double tough, tough as a $2 steak. But Baba can impose his will on the toughest of men. Nice side suplex there by Baba. Both of these competitors certainly strike me as guys who could easily be inserted into the Ultimate Heavyweight title picture. You know, even despite Harley's loss to Flair and Baba's loss to Warrior, they were both great competitions in which the match could have went to either man. So, you know, moving forward, I think there would be a very good likelihood of seeing them again compete at that level if they are available, or if they are picked. Just another thing to consider. Neither man is on the roster, and they're both trying to make a name, which is definitely enough motivation for these competitors to go above and beyond to get the W here. And we're definitely still in the feeling out process of this match. Neither man wants to make a critical error in the early stages. They're trying to wear each other down any way they can. Only a 1 count there for Harley. He definitely, I mean, he's still trying to figure out, you know, what he's in the ring with. Baba is a specimen. It's not very often you face a man of this size and technical ability to match. I mean, you could be going up against the great Khali, but he wouldn't be able to wrestle like Giant Baba. Certainly his skill set for his size is potentially unmatched. He's definitely an innovator for the sport, and what a nice submission hold there. You know, and while it is unmatched, he's certainly in a league with the likes of Andre and the Big Show, you know, at least in my eyes, and he almost gets the pinfall victory there.
10 minutes gone.
And now Harley with the camel clutch there, but Baba was in the ropes, and that's the thing about someone this size. A normal man may not have been in the ropes, but the long legs of Baba saved him. A nice clothesline there. Baba is feeling it though, as he is winded and sucking air. And a roll up by Harley. Nearly gets it. Both of these competitors know that a huge momentum swing like this could easily end the match, and Harley has been on the offensive for the last 5 minutes, seemingly. But Baba able to capitalize on that big clothesline. And I think we knew that wouldn't be enough. It's going to take a lot more than that to put either of these competitors away. And now they're going to strike it out. And a headbutt by Harley, but a big boot by the Giant. Baba. And who's going to capitalize on that exchange? It seems like Harley is, as he connects with a flying knee. And what a karate chop to the head by Baba, with a chop that could crack a coconut. And another one. That hard head of Harley is perhaps the only thing still keeping him in this match. And another clothesline, but Baba is drained. The stamina difference has been the one thing that has disallowed Baba from taking complete control at times in this matchup. I mean, you can tell he is having trouble at this junction. But a roll-up by Baba could very well steal it. And it does. And both competitors are spent after that tremendous matchup. And Baba stays in the win column. And what a great main event that was. I hope you enjoyed tonight's display. On behalf of TCW, I thank you very much. I hope that you come back to watch more. Like and subscribe. I have a ton of videos just like this, titled House Show, or the episodic TVs or pay-per-views. Check those out on the channel. I very much thank you for watching, and have a great morning, day, or night.